Oh, now he's got a shield. We got to shoot out again.
Shoot out a shield.
No, I'm doing 0 damage in operator form. That's not it.
I'm doing damage with Void.
Hey folks, Tony Mo here, and today we're talking more Warframe. Now before I go any further than that, I really do want to give a bit of a warning here. If you are someone who is not fought Eidolons or made your way past the second dream, if you don't know what the second dream is, I strongly recommend you don't watch this video if you are at all concerned about spoiling things that happen in Warframe down the line. So if you're like knee deep in Warframe, you're a little worried about spoiling potential story things, or there's just some stuff that's going to be showcased here with the Eidolon fight that's going to leave you with questions if you haven't already seen behind the looking glass of Warframe, if you will. So let me just put that warning out there before I show any more substantial footage. Again, if you don't care, I'm not like diving deep into the lore here. I'm not giving you explanations. There's just going to be things on screen that you haven't seen before that are potentially spoilers. So keep that in mind for yourself as we move forward here. Now, let us move forward indeed. This video is very much a continuation of this series I've been doing, where I talk a lot about my return to Warframe here in 2020. I've been playing the game since closed beta, but really I've only ever played Warframe for the story content. I've never really dove deep into the game until this year, and I made a video about that, which you can find linked right in the video annotation thingy, as well as down in the description below. So that means my buddy Derek and I, we've been gaining access to a lot of the content that we've simply never experienced before. That includes things like the Eidolon fights we're going to talk about today, specifically Terry the Terrorist. It also includes things like Prophet Taker, which we ran for the first time yesterday. That's a video for another day. And of course, making our way through the new Deimos content. That was actually something we were here for at launch, so that was a little bit different than us going back and gaining access to a lot of this other content. But nonetheless, you get the idea. So, let's talk a little bit more about Terry. Now, we prefer, if at all possible, to experience this sort of content as blind as possible. We really have only heard murmurs and the occasional word-of-mouth discussion on how the Eidolon fights work. We did not want to go out of our way to seek out a guide or read through a big long thing of this is how you do it. We just wanted to take whatever passive knowledge we had gained and use that as sort of our starting point to try an Eidolon fight for ourselves for the very first time. So going into this Terrorist fight, we knew that we needed to acquire lures, charge them with Vomalists, and then go shoot Terry with Void, and then shoot these things called Synovias. We didn't even really know the name, to be honest, when we went into this fight. I had heard people say the name before, and I was always deeply confused, like, what are they talking about? Are they like, is it like a thing that shows up somewhere? Little did I know that that was the actual components, the two arm components and the two leg components of the Eidolon itself. However, once you start the fight, you figure that out relatively quickly. So that's the knowledge we went in with. I grabbed a Volt because people said that was good. You could boost damage by shooting through this shield. I had a Vectus Prime that was relatively mediocrely modded, and we just decided to go for it. And as it turns out, that was more than enough for us to actually defeat Terry the Terrorist on our very first go. However, it was not a successful capture, and that was because we were completely unaware of the phase that occurs after you destroy all of the Synovias. And that's okay. We're fine with that sort of failure. I know that getting into Warframe, especially late in the game, I guess you could say, for some of this older content anyway, it can be difficult to actually experience these sort of things blind and be able to have these sort of failures. So I was really happy that we were able to have a failure like this. You know, as nice as it can be to have someone take you through a certain piece of content and teach you how it functions, there's a ton of personal value for me, and I know for my buddy Derek, in doing these sorts of things blind. You know, we love doing blind raid runs with our friends in Destiny when new raids launches. We like the figuring it out side of video games, even if it means failing a bunch. I mean, that's where the reward is sort of enhanced for us. So after we destroyed all four of the Synovias, we get the sort of dialogue coming in from the Quills like, oh, you know, the Vomalists are going to come heal the Eidolon. And we're like, wait, what? So we haven't been destroying Vomalists this entire time. We've just been focusing on Terry. There is an absolute swarm of these Vomalists everywhere now. They start healing Terry, and unfortunately the fight kind of resets and we have to finish it. At that point, our lures get destroyed, and they are no longer actually there to capture Terry when they go down. So we had a semi-successful fight here in that we did kill Terry, but we did not get a capture, so our rewards were lessened. But that was okay. We now knew what we needed to do on the next go, and we made another run, this one much more successful. We were able to deal with the Vomvalists right off the get-go, make sure that we kept their numbers down so there weren't that many around when we actually destroyed all 4 of the Synovias, and then we were able to get our first proper capture, just the 2 of us, and man, did it feel good. I actually really enjoy the Eidolon fights, and since we ran our first Eidolon fight over a week and a half ago, we take whatever opportunity we can as soon as night falls in the plains of Eidolon to head on out and farm ourselves some Terralists. We have not done the other Eidolon fights just yet. We're very much looking forward to diving into that. We kind of, we're like regrouping, going and doing some of other content just to kind of switch things up, freshen things up for ourselves, as well as starting to build things that would make the Eidolon fights a little bit easier going forward. I swapped from the Vectis Prime to the Rubico Prime, and I've begun working on builds for that, making it more effective. We're also trying to wrap up our Chroma builds. We've been trying to get Saren systems to finish Chroma as well as Saren, for myself anyway, for like a month now, so hopefully we're going to be able to do that soon. I'd love to bring Chroma to this fight and start to mess around with Chroma's ability to modify weapon damage. As much as I love good old classic Volt, it'll be cool to have a new frame and sort of, build a very bespoke build around hunting down Eidolons. And that's honestly been one of the most enjoyable things about Warframe for me over the last couple weeks, that we've been going back into this older content, prepping, to do Prophet Taker, which we did yesterday. Even just the basic Exploiter Orb run was like, okay, well, I want to kind of make a build around this. This is an opportunity to experience and explore some other Warframes that I haven't played, some weapons that I haven't played, and it is just... it gives me Monster Hunter world feels in the best possible way, like just prepping for a fight. Okay, grab the right, damage types, and it's a really enjoyable part of Warframe that I really, really like diving deep into. And the Eidolon fights, the Prophet Taker fight, all these parts of the game are a really nice change of pace from the typical Warframe horde shooter experience. And beyond the mechanics of the Eidolon fight, it's also extremely atmospheric. Like, if I was really in the plains at night, no matter how much of a Star Child Tenno I was operating this crazy Warframe, there would be a chill down my spine when I heard the cries and the, sort of screams of this massive sentient being stomping its way across the plains. It is truly a spectacular moment in Warframe for me, and I can't wait to dive into the other 2 Eidolons. That pretty much wraps it up. My first go with an Eidolon. Again, since then we've done dozens of Terralist fights. We've done it with randoms. It's a really enjoyable fight to do. I think especially, honestly, when you have like a just mid-range solid build and you're not just one-shotting the Synovias, it feels very tense. It reminds me a lot of, a sort of raid boss type encounter you might find in an MMO or in a game like Destiny, and I just have had a ton of fun with it. I can't wait to talk with Prophet Taker with you guys, because that's something Derek and I did blind the other day, and it was a very intense fight, and I'm very excited to make a video for that one as well. Let me give a huge shout out to everyone over on my Patreon. Thank you all so much for supporting the work I do here on the channel. If you're interested in becoming a patron yourself, you can click the link in the pinned comment or the description down below. Head on over there. You can get access to patron exclusive rewards starting at just $1, including early access to ad-free versions of my videos. You also get access to my workbench updates, which is essentially behind the scenes updates for me, talking about the videos I'm working on, side projects I'm working on, like miniature painting, gunpla, and scale modeling. You also get access to our private Discord server where you can come hang out and chat about all of these things with us. As you saw at the beginning of the video, let me remind you one more time, I am streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday starting at 11 a.m. EST on Twitch. Doing it all the time. Twitch is a big focus for me right now. As a side thing alongside of the YouTube channel here. We also kick up stream in the afternoon occasionally, so you might be able to catch a later stream starting sometime around 6 p.m. EST on those same days. Stop on by, give the channel a follow, click the notification bell so you know when I go live. Come hang out, chat Warframe with us. We're playing Warframe over there, usually playing with Derek. I might do some solo stuff occasionally. And we also check out new releases and other games, whatever I'm, stoked on playing pretty much. If any of that sounds awesome to you, I hope to see you there. If not, I'd love to hear about your first Eidolon experience down in the comment section below. How did you go into it? Did you go into it stacked with all the knowledge and gear you needed? Was it a bit of both, a little of one or the other? Did you go into it completely blind? And just what was that experience like? Was it a good one or a bad one? Feel free to leave those thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching and hanging out with me today. Please take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Be awesome. Tell one another. And I will see you all in the next one.
That's not hard at all.
That was a capture.
That's fun.
Yeah, that was actually really fun. I had a good time.
We got a brilliant Eidolon shard.